My name is Dulin. I'm the Global Head of Solution Consulting at Oracle for the insurance practice. I've been in the industry for 30 years supporting the business. I think I have a unique background. I worked at Microsoft as the U.S. Head of Insurance. Also, from a data perspective, I'm a founding member of the Information Society of Chief Data Officers at MIT, and so have a unique opportunity to interact with chief data officers. And so, worked with quite a few carriers on quite a few strategic initiatives kind of across the landscape of insurance, policy administration, data, CX. And so, that's a little bit about me. So the biggest benefit to insurers in terms of leveraging their data, I would say, is they have the opportunity to execute their strategy in a more efficient and effective way and gain the returns, probably a little sooner than some traditional approaches have been in the past. The biggest benefit to insurers right now around leveraging their data, I would say, would be the ability to execute their current strategies more efficiently and effectively. There are some high priority use cases that we've seen in the market, whether it be pricing, risk stratification, enabling the digital journey for direct to consumer strategies. So whatever those high priority use cases are, data can be instrumental in being more effective in execution. The challenges carriers have around utilizing data are age-old challenges, honestly. Data governance, data stewardship, data quality, data timeliness. And the most effective way to address those challenges based on, the interactions I've had with CDOs and companies is to adopt an enterprise data management framework to help organizations mature in some of these key areas of data management. And so when you think about data governance, it's people, process, technology. When you think about data stewardship, that's standing up subject matter experts who understand the data, can contextualize the data and make the data relevant to the business. Data quality is also something that's a bit of a challenge as well. And so there's some proven frameworks out there that organizations use to help them mature in this whole space of data asset development. But those are the three that are probably the most challenging to kind of get started. But if you do it right, organizations tend to be very, very successful. Yeah, so insurance companies are solving their data challenges, I think, number one, by acknowledging that data is a critical asset. After that acknowledgement, organizations that embrace that data needs an executive owner. This is showing up as a chief data officer. In some cases, organizations have to take a bottoms-up approach and prove that point, but data programs need an executive owner to gain the sponsorship, short-term and long-term, to be successful. So those are the two critical components, I think. And then you get into change management frameworks and other best practices to enable the data journey. But those two, the acknowledgement that data is a critical asset that the organization should leverage, and there needs to be an executive owner to be the steward, no different than a CFO is the steward of the finance organization. So there's a wide variety of projects that we see in the market that carriers are investing in. There's some that stand out. So, Product pricing, it tends to be a real important area for the sake of risk stratification. So in the traditional world, you would kind of rate individuals based on a few factors. But what we're finding is if you have more data and access to data, you can stratify your risk and create a win-win pricing structure for the customer and for the organization. Number two, that digital journey. So CX is at the forefront at carriers because of COVID. And it's important to make sure that customer journey from the first time you interact with the customer, that you take them through a frictionless journey that leads them to where you want them to go in terms of onboarding and making them a customer. And so, CX is getting a lot of attention. Something interesting is we've adopted a touchless underwriting, fluidless underwriting approach, and this is an area that requires external data to be ingested into your current platform, and then data on that customer as well, or that prospect, to make that experience an experience that person remembers, and so much so that they become a customer. So those are a few high priority use cases that we see, but CX is something that definitely is top of mind for many people, and Equisoft is at the forefront of having a solution that can meet the market demand. So I think data is going to transform life insurance in 5 years. And, the way that I look at it is, the P&C market tends to be 5 years ahead of life and annuity. And one of the concepts that we see that's coming is this whole concept of pay as you live. So the traditional model that we're used to placing policies with policyholders, is you touch them once, and then the next time you see them is when there's a claim, and that could be at death. And so on the P&C side, they're structuring pricing based on driving habits, and so we think based on your behaviors, your premium should be adjusted and your risk should be adjusted, and so you see this coming. And millennials they want to buy their own way. They want us to show up the way that traditional apps in the marketplace show up. And so I think the customer journey is going to look a lot different. The need to engage with them the same way they would engage with traditional apps. Someone brought up the Peloton. They want an experience, and they want value from engaging with the carrier. And so, data is at the center of that. If we can provide data that's relevant, that's timely, and that's meaningful to an end customer, then I think those are the carriers that will win in the future.